Dear friends, on this fourth Sunday of Advent year A, we look at Mary as the one that offered herself to be filled by the power of God to give us the greatest gift, God among us. There's this story of St. Francis of Assisi. When he was asked why and how he could accomplish so much, and he simply replied, "This may be why. I think the Lord looked down from heaven upon the earth and said, where can I find the weakest, the little one, the poorest man on the earth? Then he saw me and said, now I have found him and will walk through him." He wouldn't be proud of it. He would know that I am only using him because of his littleness and insignificance. We all know about the musical instrument called the flute. As a simple piece of reed with a few holes, probably the cheapest instrument, perhaps. But the wealth and the worth of that flute is its poverty, its littleness. And all its merit is in its littleness, actually. But the reed becomes a flute when it allows itself to be fashioned according to the plan of the craftsman. And in that way, a flute produces sweet music when it surrenders itself to the touch of the flutist. It allows itself to be used, that it quickly yields to the movements of the musician. And all its usefulness is in its emptiness and holiness, that it has to be empty to receive the breath of the flutist. And the moment it refuses to be used, the moment it gets filled, the moment it becomes useless. So my dear friends, Mary was the reed of God, and God is the divine flutist who breathed into her his breath, his spirit, and thereby she brought forth Jesus of Nazareth, who became the divine melody. Christ has become the divine melody because Mary, as the reed of God, allowed herself to be filled with a sweet sound from the divine flutist God himself. So Mary said yes. That yes became her surrender, her emptying, so that the Father could fill her with himself, so that the Father could form in her his own Son. She was filled with grace only after she had emptied herself. So to be nothing, to have nothing to claim for ourselves, is the most radical form of poverty. It is the most radical form of self-emptying and humility. And fruitfulness, self-fulfillment, exaltation come forth from this poverty. Self and fruitfulness comes from self-emptying and humiliation, taking the form of a servant. So Mary offered her empty virginal womb, which God filled with himself, so that Mary became the womb of God. Mary was perfectly docile instrument in the hands of God. Dear friends, to be an instrument, Matthew in his gospel today adopts the sign given to Ahaz with an entirely new meaning. He points out that Jesus is the ultimate fulfillment of the prophecy, emphasizing and proclaiming that Jesus is the royal child of the house of David, the Son of God, born of the Virgin Mary. The child is not only the son of David, but also the Son of God and Mary. this child is God's presence among us. His presence may be ordinary, but His gifts are extraordinary. He gives us salvation from sins. He gives us holiness, grace, and peace. He wants us to empty ourselves in Him so that God will be with us in moments of sorrow, offering stability and supporting us in times of worry. He is with us to see us through struggles. He is with us to help us survive any setback. He is with us to help us, to strengthen us to endure. May we abound in His grace. May we offer our lives so that our lives will be filled with His grace. May we come to Him in the simplest ways, and may that presence bring us tremendous gifts. Have a beautiful fourth Sunday of Advent. God bless you.